And this enmity continues through Cain's godless line in chapter 4. It's counteracted by Seth's godless line in chapter 4:25 to 5:32. And Jesus reminds us this enmity doesn't flow purely along ethnic or racial lines. Take a look in John chapter 8, verse 39 to 44. It's going to be up here on the screen. If you, Abraham's children, Abraham is our father, they answered. If you were Abraham's children, said Jesus, then you would do what Abraham did. As it is, you are looking for a way to kill me. A man who has told you the truth that I heard from God, Abraham did not do such things. You are doing the works of your father. He's telling a bunch of pastors that he's doing the works of their father. Who's the father he's specifically talking about? Satan. You are doing the works of your father. We are not illegitimate children, they protested. The only father we have is God himself. Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I came from God and now am here. I have not come on my own will, but he sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I say. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. This stems all the way back to Genesis chapter 3. Either we are part of Eve's line or we are part of Satan's line. Take a look at Matthew 13:38. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one. And you know what? This conflict isn't just going to stop. This conflict is going to continue to grow until we've talked about that revelation thing, right? Until Jesus comes back. This is going to grow. There's going to be greater and greater enmity between us and the world. What the world says is okay, Jesus has got this counterintuitive, countercultural way of doing things. At the Agora right now, we're going through a series called Destined for Greatness. And basically, it's all a bunch of Jesus' paradoxes. Jesus' upside-down wisdom. Tonight, we're talking about power. If you want to be truly powerful, you have to be the greatest servant. We are constantly at enmity with the world. It's a product of the fall, Genesis chapter 3. Enmity number 3. But God speaks of a third enmity. 3:15 here, you'll see on the screen. He will crush your head and you will strike his heel. Now this for many years stumbled me. I don't know if it's ever, paused you to think. Because first he's talking to he's talking to Eve. Now all of a sudden he says, he? Like, where's this he coming from? It's Adam? It's Eve? Is it supposed to be Adam now that God's talking about? No, suddenly God speaks of a single male human, he. This enmity will reach its climax, not between one descendant of Eve and one descendant of Satan. Rather, just as the conflict began between one human individual, Eve, and Satan himself, so it will reach its climax between one of Eve's male descendants and Satan himself. That's by Gary DeLashman. Like two titans, the two are going to finally come to a battle. There is going to be a point where they're going to square off against one another, and it's going to be to the death. And see, in this passage, it does share that Satan will land a powerful blow, a painful but not a mortal blow to his heel. But he will drive his sword right down on Satan's head and split it in half. So who is he? We're talking about the Messiah. Isaiah 9:6 talks about the Isaiah very, very clearly. Let's take a look right there. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This Messiah, this Jesus, is going to come, and Satan is going to strike at him. And did we see that? Have we seen Satan strike at Jesus? Where have we seen that, where he struck at Jesus? The cross, right? Right? Here's Jesus walking on this earth, showing us perfection incarnate, showing us God and humanity living day by day, breathing on us what God desires out of our lives. And Satan hits him with a crushing blow, doesn't he? Does he strike at his heel? He strikes at him, but does it terminate Christ? No, right? It doesn't terminate Christ. Christ rises up from the dead. Now, according to Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, there's going to be a second blow where Jesus is going to lay a crushing blow upon Satan. Where do we see that in scriptures? Revelation as a whole. Revelation as a whole. Satan is going to come after Christ again. Christ is going to take a strike at Satan, and he's going to eliminate it. It's going to be done deal. The day will come when Jesus will return, the time to rule and reign and vanquish the serpent forever. Then, what was predicted moments after Adam and Eve, when they fell, will be fulfilled. So what? We're in the last few minutes. So what? This is the entire history of salvation, all squeezed into one verse. Isn't that amazing? This right here in Genesis chapter 3 is all of everything we ever need to know wrapped up into one verse. Francis Schaeffer says this: from this time on in the flow of history, there are two humanities. The one humanity says there is no God, or makes it its own gods in its own imagination, or it tries to come to God on its own way. The other humanity comes to the true God in God's way. There is no neutral ground. There is no fence. Since the fall, we're all born into the humanity that is in opposition to God. But you don't have to stay there. God has given you the opportunity to come to him through his son, Jesus Christ. And the beautiful part is just coming to him simply through him, through Christ. We just want to close off with the service just saying that if anybody here doesn't know about that amazing Jesus, the one that was predicted thousands and thousands of years before he was born, the one who has struck the blow and will finally strike the final blow on Satan himself. If you don't know about that and you want to connect with one of us as pastors up front, we would love to do that. We have time. Lunch will wait, and that's no big deal. We would love to just be able to communicate with you and to talk to you about the hope that we have since Genesis chapter 3 and Jesus Christ himself. Isn't that an amazing passage? 3:14 and 15? I tell you, I was scared of this sermon. Scared. I didn't know how I was going to go through this, and I'm very, very thankful for a man named Gary DeLashment that you saw on the screen here as many different quotes, and the wisdom that he has, and just the way that he shares his communication with us as well. It's great to be able to learn off of other wise people. After that, after reading Gary's stuff, I then went to meet with Pastor Gord because Larry wasn't around. Pastor Larry wasn't around, and Gord clarified my mind, which was beautiful. But it's so great just to be able to come into relationship with each other and to study these words together and to find the hope that these words can give us. Let's just stand for a closing word of prayer.